Hi, so I wanted to show you one of the ways I tried. I started here at Articles and Books, and then when I was thinking about the stigma part, instead of BOCES, because that didn't come up with much, and that would make sense because it's so narrow, but career and technical education is the new name for the programs like BOCES. I added high school, and I put both of these two things in quotes because I wanted to keep them together because they're sort of technical terms. I want to keep them together. And when I tried stigma, and you can try this yourself, there wasn't as much as I was hoping for, and so I kind of wanted to keep it as I tried perception. So this is maybe 4 bad searches in. What I did is refine it by scholarly peer reviewed. The reason I did that, there's a lot of technical journals, trade journal things that aren't doing real research. It's sort of people's opinions, which is fine, but I thought you can always unclick that to see what's coming up. I chose journal articles so we wouldn't get magazine articles or book reviews. At the end of this, I'll do a quick search for book stuff. That's a little bit harder in some ways, but usually I would pick a discipline like education. I didn't in this case because I wanted to leave it open to some psychology things and stuff like that. And then I did 2007 as my year limit. And so one of the things I did is I tried to look and see what was coming up that I wanted and what I didn't. 2,000 results is too many. Perceptions with special education and career technical education. So because I don't think you're interested in the special education aspect. If you are, that's great. But if not, I'm going to keep moving. Career and technical education teachers' perceptions of culturally diverse classes. Well, that's not the stigma that we're thinking about, so I'm moving along. Differences between general and talented students' perceptions of their career and technical education experiences compared to their traditional high school something. Well, that might seem interesting. I can't tell much from here, so I'm going to click preview. And then I'm going to read this. It was a qualitative study, so they did surveys to address the question of how talented and general education students' part-time CTE experiences differed from their traditional high school experience. So these are all folks doing CTE, so they had high feelings about it. But it's people who are in it, and if we're thinking about the stigma, we're just going to keep moving along. Sorry, let me make my machine move along. There we are. Perceptions of the psychosocial learning environment in online and face-to-face. I don't think we're thinking about online. High school forestry, so assess the current status of forestry education. Well, that's interesting, but it's probably not about stigmas or perceptions, so we're going to keep going a little bit. And this is the part where you might lose faith, but just keep the faith. Understanding participation in secondary career and technical education. This one I looked at, you can tell I put it in the saved items to send to you, because when I click preview, oh, there we are. We argue more traditional approach of classifying students as either academic or vocational concentrators doesn't reflect the current requirements. And so I thought that was interesting, that sort of the classifying them as academic or vocational. So I thought there might be something interesting about that. It might not be. When you look at what the study is, you might say, oh, that's terrible, what were you thinking? Technology drives career and technical education in high school reform. So I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. Executive Director of State Directors of Career Technical Consortium. People acknowledge academic standards should be the same for all students. Having career and technical education students meet academic standards was still a nascent, an early idea way back when. So I think I put that one in there too. That gives you a little bit of history and thinking about the sort of qualifications and maybe misunderstandings about what career and tech students do. High school dropout and the role of career and technical education, a survival analysis of surviving high school. This is more about whether it helps you, but that might be interesting too. So what I did is I kept looking through, I kept looking through This isn't the best way. I could add, so there's a few things that we could do to, I'm going to scroll up, so don't stare at the screen. It's going to make you dizzy. One of the things we could do is look at this subject terms, or we could look at discipline. They're a little bit different. I'm going to do education as a discipline because we are sort of thinking about that, but maybe we add in psychology as well. Oops, as I break the machine. Because some of these attitudes and stigma are psychology. So let's see if that changed our results much. Oh, slow machine. Okay, hopefully this is recording. Perceptions of special education and career and technical education, teachers' perceptions. So most of these are kind of the same. I'll give you a quick idea of what happens when I did stigma. And I can tell you there's an awful lot international. It was really surprising. What we find, though, is in some cases we lose stuff. High school dropout enrolled. This was our survival analysis. Stigma. Sorry. Addressing dynamics of stigma in academics, focusing on African American adolescents. 451 students. Let's see. Oops, sorry. What I don't see is the CTE stuff coming in. Could be that I'm just going right by it, but so you can read more slowly. See, now our stigma is getting us away from the CTE stuff. And so that's one of the things you have to sort of play around to see what works. I had saved 4 items, and understanding participation in secondary career technical education, technology drives career stuff. Is high school career and technical education obsolete? The answer is no. And exploring principles, perceptions of supervised agricultural experience. So this was one of the things that showed up sort of in that same family of BOCES, which is educational items. So I am going to email this, and this is something you can do too to keep track of what you've done. I'm just going to email it to myself, and then I'll forward it to you. Actually, I'll put your email in a second. And I send it, and then it's gone. And it's in our inbox with links that we can use. So then another thing you might do is say, what sort of books are there about BOCES? Maybe that will help. And so I apologize for this being so slow. Get rid of some of my open tabs. I have a little Chromebook that is very nice, but it gets very tired. All right, so I'll show you this way. This is better. So in articles and books, I can put in BOCES. And so the first thing we find is there's a whole lot that are not sort of relevant to what we want. So it's about the business of BOCES. Oh, and it's going to hit the limit. Okay, so I'll stop this. What I would do is do book, ebook, and see if that helps. And what we find out is I think there's somebody Slavic named BOCES, which is really annoying. So we might do BOCES and do education and see if that helps us out. 4 seconds. Okay, bye-bye.